Three rose petals on my front seat, falling from the bouquet Jimmy took.
It was a Sunday morning no one saw coming. While most of Nashville slept, the heart of its sound quietly stopped beating. At 3 a.m. on November 2nd, 2025, country singer and legendary harmony vocalist John Wesley Ryles died peacefully at his home in Tennessee. He was 74 years old. The first confirmation came from Tracy Pitcox, head of Heart of Texas Records. His post was simple, stripped of all drama. It's with great sadness that we announce the passing of John Wesley Ryles. He left us in the early hours this morning. Nashville has lost one of its gentle giants. By dawn, the message had spread everywhere. Daily Mail, Yahoo Entertainment, The Sun, and Music Row followed with obituaries. Within hours, social media turned into a memorial wall. Mark Wills wrote on Instagram, "We lost a giant today. John sang more harmonies on country records than anyone I know. He could blend with anybody. His tone made the song complete." Singer Craig Campbell added, "He sang on my first two albums. His voice was velvet and steel at the same time." Fans posted clips of K, his first hit from 1968. Others replayed his later background vocals on Alan Jackson and Randy Travis albums, realizing for the first time that his voice had always been there, quietly holding everything together. For 60 years, John Wesley Ryles had been the sound beneath the spotlight. That morning, for once, the light turned fully on him. John Wesley Ryles was born December 2nd, 1950, in Bastrop, Louisiana. The second of 4 children in a deeply religious family. His father led a small gospel group called the Ryles Family Singers. His mother played piano at the local Baptist church. John's earliest memories weren't toys or TV, they were microphones, hymn books, and long drives between revival tents. He learned harmony the way most kids learn to talk. By 6, he could match pitch perfectly. By 9, he was singing alto parts on live radio broadcasts across Louisiana and Texas. He once said, "I didn't know what a hit record was, but I knew what moved people." Money was tight. The Ryles family traveled in a rusted station wagon with their instruments stacked beside them. But for John, those years were paradise. He sang for food, not fame, for community, not charts. That foundation shaped him forever. Unlike most artists who later chased the spotlight, Ryles always understood that the power of music came from honesty, not volume. In 1963, the family relocated to Dallas-Fort Worth, where the teenage John began performing at school dances and local fairs. A Columbia Records representative heard him on a small gospel program and was stunned by his tone. He sounded like Ray Price had a son who could outfeel him, the scout later recalled. 1 week later, John was on a bus to Nashville. He was 17. He had no money, no manager, only that voice. The song was called K, a lonely ballad about a cab driver, haunted by a lost love, written by Hank Mills. The tune was simple, yet its sadness cut deep. John recorded it in 1967 with Columbia producer Billy Sherrill. The session lasted only 3 hours. He sang it in a single take, closing his eyes through most of it. When K hit radio in 1968, something magical happened. Listeners from Texas to Tennessee called DJs asking who that kid was with the grown man's heartbreak. Within weeks, the single shot to #9 on Billboard's country chart and even cracked the hot 100, an almost impossible feat for a pure country track at the time. Suddenly, John Wesley Ryles, still just 17, was thrust into the national spotlight. He appeared on Hee Haw, American Bandstand, and the Grand Ole Opry. He wore plain suits, smiled nervously, and sang as if confessing something personal. Critics called him the Velvet Thunder of Bastrop. Female fans called radio stations in tears. But Ryles wasn't seduced by the fame. He still sent half his check home to Louisiana and called his parents before every show. When a journalist asked him if he felt famous, he said quietly, "No, sir. I just feel grateful someone's listening." K would define his career, but it also set expectations he never tried to meet again because, as he later admitted, You can't plan moments like that. They come once, and you just thank God you were there. The 1,970 seconds were golden and grueling. Ryles signed new deals with Warner Brothers, Epic, ABC, and United Artists, releasing more than 30 singles over the next 2 decades. Hits like Once in a Lifetime Thing, 1,977, Louisiana Rain, Fool, Liberated Woman, and Always on My Mind earned him steady airplay. He became known for his clarity, a tone so pure producers said it could cut glass and heal wounds at the same time. But Nashville was changing. The glitzy urban cowboy era was replacing the storytelling tradition. Flash over feeling, rhinestones over reverence. John wanted none of it. He refused to wear sequin jackets. He turned down gimmicky duets. He wanted to sing songs that meant something. That honesty cost him. While other artists chased crossover fame, Ryles' chart numbers slowed, but his reputation deepened. He became the singer, the man other artists listened to when they forgot what sincerity sounded like. He once told a close friend, "I'd rather sing one true song than 50 lies with a smile." When his final solo single, Nobody Knows, dropped in 1988, he knew the spotlight had moved on, so he stepped aside, not bitterly, but gracefully. And that's when Nashville discovered his greatest gift. By the late 1,980 seconds, John Wesley Ryles reinvented himself as a session harmony vocalist, a move that stunned everyone. How could a man who'd been a star choose to stand behind others? But John didn't see it that way. He said, "Harmony is humility set to music. I'm not behind them, I'm holding them up." Soon, his phone never stopped ringing. He became part of Nashville's elite A-team, singing behind icons like Alan Jackson, Brooks and Dunn, Randy Travis, Blake Shelton, Reba McEntire, and Steve Wariner. Producers loved him for his accuracy. He could blend with anyone, disappear completely, yet leave a warmth no computer could reproduce. Mark Wills remembered, "John sang on my first 4 records. The blend was so perfect you couldn't tell where my voice ended and his began." He co-wrote Starting Over Again for Steve Wariner, a fitting metaphor for the second act of his life. Behind studio doors, John became a mentor, teaching young singers to listen more than they sang. He'd say, "If you want harmony, you have to care more about them than yourself." They called him Mr. Blend, and inside the industry, that title meant more than any Grammy. Away from the microphones, John lived a love story worthy of a country classic. He married Joni Lee, daughter of country legend Conway Twitty, in the late 1,960 seconds. They met during a studio session, bonded over harmonies, and never looked back. In 1969, he joined Conway's European tour, performing in London, Dublin, and Berlin. Fans called him the Polite Storm. Despite being part of one of the most famous families in country music, John and Joni kept their life private. They bought a modest home outside Nashville, raised their children quietly, and never courted attention. Joni once told the Tennessean, "John never brought the business home. When he came through that door, he was just my husband, not the singer, not the star." Faith guided everything. He carried the same small leather Bible from his gospel childhood until his death. It sat on his console table beside a pair of studio headphones. Friends remember that he prayed before every recording session. When asked why, he smiled. "Because music is a gift. You don't open a gift without saying thank you first." Their marriage lasted over 50 years, a rare miracle in the music world. They were each other's harmony till the very end. On November 1st, 2025, John spent the evening with Joni at home. They had dinner, watched a rerun of Hee Haw, and laughed about how young they once looked. He told her he felt tired but happy. Around midnight, he kissed her goodnight. Sometime before dawn, his heart quietly stopped. He was found lying peacefully, the Bible open beside him. Tracy Pitcox received the call early Sunday. He wrote later, "He left the way he lived, quietly, kindly, without fanfare." By morning, Nashville was paralyzed. In studios across Music Row, sessions halted. Engineers turned off monitors and played K. For 3 minutes and 14 seconds, the city held its breath. Mark Wills posted, "He built the walls we all sing inside. Nashville won't sound the same without him." Sessionsinger Penny Carden-Loden wrote, "When I first recorded with him, I was nervous. He told me, 'Don't worry, I'll hold the note for you.' He always did in every way." Conway Twitty's grandson Trey Twitty shared, "Uncle John passed away this morning. He was kind, talented, and loving. Please keep Aunt Joni in your prayers." There was no public funeral at the family's request, but across Tennessee, every radio station played his songs that day. No ads, no chatter, just music and tears. A fan summed it up online. He was the best-kept secret Nashville ever had. John Wesley Ryles never won a Grammy. He never headlined an arena. He never dominated the charts. But he didn't need to. His fingerprints are on the fabric of country music itself. For 60 years, his voice was the invisible thread tying generations together, from classic honky-tonk to 90 seconds neo-country to modern Americana. If you've ever cried to Alan Jackson's Remember When, or swayed to Brooks and Dunn's Neon Moon, or smiled through Blake Shelton's Home, you've already heard John. You just didn't know it. He mentored dozens of younger artists, teaching them how to serve the song, not the ego. He told them, "Harmony is humility. If people don't notice you, that means you did it right." That was his creed. After his passing, major artists began sharing stories. Randy Travis wrote, "John taught me that less is more," and meant it. Reba McEntire posted, "We all stood on his shoulders, whether we realized it or not." His influence stretches far beyond charts or awards. He changed the sound of Nashville, making it warmer, truer, human again. And in that sense, he never really left. He lives in every echo of every chorus that still fills a bar on Broadway Street. If you drive through Tennessee tonight and turn on a local station, you might hear it, a soft harmony tucked beneath the lead. That's him, still working, still holding the note. Because legends like John Wesley Ryles don't die. They fade into harmony and become eternal. He began as a gospel boy in a borrowed car. He ended as the heartbeat of a city. No scandals, no bitterness, no wasted words. Just 6 decades of honest sound. They say heroes live loud, but sometimes the truest heroes whisper. John Wesley Ryles whispered in every record he touched. A whisper so strong it carried generations. So when Nashville goes quiet, listen closely. Between the chords, you'll hear him. The man who proved that the purest music isn't sung to be heard, it's sung to be felt. John Wesley Ryles, 1950-2025. Gone, but never gone silent.